Hey everybody, welcome to the Jim Masters Show live. Good to have you with us today. How are you guys doing all around the world with our international audience? It is a busy day here. We've been really busy on the air with the radio shows and some TV projects, but it is so nice to see you and you and you and you. And thanks for joining us. And we love all the support. You guys have been absolutely amazing with all of the time and attention and support and tagging and sharing and raving about the show. I mean, I get all these private messages and Facebook messages and these texts and these Instagram messages from people who are saying they're being enlightened by the show, inspired by the show, empowered by the show, informed by the show, and entertained by the show. And that is perfect because that's what this is. This is an entertainment lifestyle talk show series that we created 25 weeks ago, like 150 episodes plus, which is absolutely amazing. Every single day, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, live with guests from Hollywood and Broadway, television, film, comedy, science, nature, health and wellness, culinary arts, comedy, you name it, right here on the show. Plus some shows where I've taken you on location. We went to the Netherlands. We went to Red Rocks in Denver. We went to Malibu and Hollywood and LA. Really cool stuff. And of course, we've had opportunities to do food festival shows where we've talked about food for 2 hours, which is amazing on the weekends. And we've had extraordinary guests who've really shared so much about their work and their passions and their lives with us here on the show. And you guys have been doing the same. Viewers, international viewers from literally all around the world, or as we call you guys, Lovities, which is what you call yourselves. And I'm Mr. Lovity, which is great. You know, we could use a little more of that in our world, more love and light and caring and empathy. There is nothing wrong with that. If anybody ever says, you know, kindness is a weakness or there's no time for empathy and all that, walk in the other direction. There's plenty of time to love one another and bring things together and be good to one another and inspire and to create. And that's what we do all the time here on this show, which, as you know, is an extension of the work I do professionally as a television and radio host and personality, presenter, journalist, actor, writer, producer, voice MC, stage MC, narrator. It's good to have you with us. We are toasting you right now. We toast you and you and you and you from all around the world. We always toast our Lovities, our viewers from around the world. That's nice. It's been a long day. I've been on the air with multiple radio shows and getting these shows ready. And we've been upgrading our internet. And it's been one of those crazy days. So I'm glad to see all of you. And I hope you're doing well. And we have amazing guests who are here. They're actually live and direct from beautiful New Mexico today. And we were just talking about, I've been in New Mexico, in Albuquerque, in that area on television shoots. But New Mexico is quite beautiful. It really is beautiful. It's unique. It really is unique. They're going to join us in just a minute. We're talking about powerhouse vocal and cellist duo, Brandon and James. Now, they're together. They play off each other so beautifully. And I met Brandon, and Brandon met me, actually, of all places. I mean, it's not a bad place to meet, Carnegie Hall, when I was master of ceremonies for this beautiful concert that is done every year by dear friend composer Tim Janis and musician Tim Janis as well, which is to benefit the Golden Hat Foundation, actress Kate Winslet's foundation supporting autism research, and they bring in all these entertainers and all these performers and a youth choir and a full orchestra every year for years at Carnegie Hall. And I've emceed it multiple times and helped write scripts and opens and hosted some of the VIP parties and all kinds of cool stuff, because I interviewed Tim years ago on public television and we stayed connected. Well, that's what happened with Brandon and I. We met sort of in the green room when we were chatting, and we connected at Carnegie Hall, and we stayed connected ever since. So Brandon and James are here, and we're excited to learn about what they're working on, some of the new projects. A book has been authored. There's new music out and all kinds of cool stuff. And I know you guys have been very excited about having them here on the show. Christine Clifton in North Carolina says, good evening, Jim and Lovedies. We welcome cello and vocal duo Brandon and James to the show. Looking forward to amazing music conversation and Lovedy Hall tonight. Good to see you watching on the YouTube channel at Jim Masters TV. I encourage you and welcome you to subscribe to that channel as we continue to build the channel. That's really cool. It's Jim Masters TV. Dante CD watching in San Diego says, welcome Brandon and James to Lovedy Hall. Looking forward to a wonderful evening and entertaining show with both of you and Mr. Lovedy, Jim Masters. Hey there, all Lovedies. Good to see you as well. Belinda Karp says, love this picture. Well, we love you, Belinda. Thanks for joining us as well on YouTube. Kathy Short, hello, Lovedies from wet and chilly Cleveland, Ohio. I hope you're all having a great day. We are Kathy, and it's good to see you as well. Willie is here from the Netherlands. She's here just about every night. I think she said 133, 135 shows. She's been with us every single show. She's there in beautiful Holland. We welcome you, Willie. Thanks for joining us. Hello, my dear friends. Hello, Jim. Have a nice evening. And Wozniak is here. Hi, Jim and everyone. Hope today has been a terrific Tuesday. It has. And it's nice to see you here with us as well. And welcome to the show. Mary Bishop is here. Hello, everyone. Good to see you, Mary. Merlin in Canada, Innerkip, Ontario, Canada. Hello, Jim and all Lovedies. Good to see you as well, Merlin. A lot of folks are here, as always, reporting for duty on the Jim Masters Show Live. Marilyn is here from Wichita, Kansas. Hi, Jim and all the Lovedies. Good to see you, Marilyn. Bernadette Vidal is here. Hello, Jim and all Lovedies. Willie is toasting. Juanita in South Africa is here once again. Good to see you. We love when you're with us, which is basically every night, Juanita. And I know it's really late into the evening. It's like, what, 1 a.m. or something where you are in South Africa? That is real loyalty, and we appreciate that. Thanks for that beautiful picture you sent as well. We're going to use it on our Halloween costume party episode coming up on YouTube this Saturday. We're having a big Halloween costume party episode. It's going to be pretty cool. Good to see you in South Africa, Juanita. Sharon in Connecticut is with us. Happy Tuesday. Wishing everyone a wonderful evening. You as well. Now we take it to South America and to Brazil. And Carla is here in Brazil. Good to see you, Carla. Welcome. Hello, Jim. Hello, everyone. Looking forward to the show in beautiful Brazil. Nice to see you. Claudia is here as well. Hello, Jim and all the Lovedies. Our day is fantastic. In Southern California, Anne is reporting for duty. Hello, Anne. Good to see you. Hello, everyone. I'm back from visiting my mom for her 80th birthday. Missed you guys. Well, happy 80th to your mom. Continued love and joy and blessings to your mom, Anne. That's terrific. That's a milestone. Bernadette wishes her an 80th happiness as well. And Tess LaBella, wonderful actress and comedian and voice artist who was a guest a couple of weeks ago watching from Southern Florida. Welcome, Jim, Brandon, and James, and all the Lovedies. Have a great show. So happy to be here with everyone. Good to have you with us as well, Tess. From New York City, Kathleen Walker is here. Hi, Jim. Hope all is well. Good to see you in New York. Kathleen, stars, multiple stars from Willie and Holland, Jennifer Barry in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Good to see you as well. You got your food ready. That's nice. You spot a pumpkin, huh? Good eye. You saw the pumpkin there. Yeah, dressed up the set a little bit there. Good eye, Claudia. And Danilo says, hello there, Lovedies, Mr. Lovedy, and welcome our Lovedy guests, Brandon and James. Looking forward to an incredibly entertaining show. Toasting coming in. Everybody toasts when I toast. Gene Williams is here. Brandon and James are awesome. Yes, they are, and we're glad to have them here. Willie says she's been watching for 25 weeks times 7 days, 175 shows from Jim. Whew, I better sit down. This is really nice. Yeah, that's cool. I love all these comments. You were in New Mexico for your mom's birthday. Just got back. Very nice. Hey, from Northern Ireland, Chris Comer is here, better known as Scream Queen Army. Nice to see you and welcome, Chris, there in Ireland. Merlin again, welcoming Brandon and James to Lovely Hall. You're both Lovelies now. I let them know. I always let all the guests know in advance that they're going to be inducted into Lovely Hall, and they love it. Why not? You know, it's cool. We could use more of that, right? Renee Katz, the wonderful cabaret star from the Midlands of Flushing, Queens, New York. Renee's here. Hi, everyone from the Midlands. Hope everyone is well. Marsha Murphy-Watson's here. Good to see you, Marsha. And Ralph Lampkin Jr. from Indiana is here. Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Good to see you as well. And so much more. We'll continue with these comments as we go along. But first, I want to welcome our very, very special guests. Again, I've been very familiar with their work. Cool shot there, huh? What shot do you think you'd like me to leave you with here as we get ready to tell you a little bit about them? That's a good one. Why don't we go with that one? That's a snazzy one. Let me tell you a little bit about the guys. Brandon and James have become a brand name in the classical crossover music world, along, the likes of Josh Groban, piano guys, Jackie Banco. I've had an opportunity to actually interview Jackie and the piano guys through public television. They're great. And Brandon and James, amazing. Since their inception in 2015, the cello and vocal duo have been defying odds by reinventing the rules when it comes to classical crossover music. Now, Brandon says people tell us we are so unique and different. And he says, I think that's what makes us, that's what really excites us the most. We're actually doing something that hasn't been done before, with soaring tenor vocals and dazzling cello, as reported by our friends at NPR. The duo creates a sound that leaves audiences feeling moved and inspired. As individuals, Australian cellist James is an arranger, orchestrator, and concert pianist. And operatic tenor Brandon, a native of California, recently penned his first book, a memoir titled Lyrics of My Life, which just came out in September of this year, which is really exciting. The reviews, the comments, the love people have for Brandon and James is just incredible. Brandon James, an operatic tenor, and James Clark, a virtuoso of the cello, simply making beautiful music together. So the duo is James Clark on the cello and Brandon James, the vocalist, and Theater Pizzazz has raved about them glowingly. Everybody does. They're really talented. They like to have a lot of fun with their audience. They've been doing this for a long time, and they've come together to present extraordinary performances. Again, they're live and direct from beautiful New Mexico right now. I see all the welcomes coming in from the Lovedies. We'll show those in just a second, but let's welcome our dear friends here from New Mexico. Usually they're in New York, but right now with everything going on, they're tuckered down there in beautiful New Mexico. Let's welcome Brandon and James. Hey guys, welcome to the show. It's good to see you.
Hello
You too.
there.
Hi, Jim and all the Lovedies. Thanks for having us.
And all the Lovedies. Yeah, I should dive right in and show you some of the love that's coming in. Marilyn in Wichita, Kansas. Welcome, Brandon and James, to Lovely Hall. And Ann says, welcome, Brandon and James. Love your music. Love your arrangements. Renee Katz in New York City says, exciting combo. They're very familiar. Juanita in South Africa. Welcome to the show, Brandon and James. Donna Sanders, hello from Columbus, Georgia. Mary Bishop, welcome, Brandon and James. And let's see, more and more. This is like it's all piling up here. This is great. Jean Williams said she read the memoir. She's suggesting everybody reads it. That's fantastic. Kathleen Walker in New York City. Hi, Brandon and James. Welcome. From Willie in Holland. Welcome, boys, to the best show ever, the Jim Masters Show. We love Willie. She's good for the ego, right?
She's like a sweetheart.
Yeah. She actually, for my birthday, she sent me this huge box from Holland. Are you familiar with Stroop waffles? These incredible.
Yeah.
She sent this thing from Holland, and inside was this massive box, and it was filled with Dutch Stroop waffles. And I mentioned it because I was on a TV shoot for the Lifestyle Travel Show a year ago, and we were there twice. I said, oh, I missed the Stroop waffles. They're not like you get here. They're the real deal there. And all of a sudden, this package comes, and and they're gone. We got them like 2, 3 weeks ago, and they're long gone. Carla said from Brazil says, "Shout out Brandon and James. Welcome, Bernadette.
Obrigada,
Welcome, Brandon.
Carla.
Isn't that cool? I mean, it's really amazing. Welcome, Brandon and James to Lovely Hole. Plus, we have viewers in Australia, New Zealand as well, where it's like the beginning of the day right now for them. And they're going
Tomorrow.
in. I think they're going into. They're in spring now, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
they're in their spring. Kathy Short, welcome Brandon and James to the land of Lovities. And Harriskin, welcome Brandon and James. Just got back from New Mexico. And Gene Williams, love Brandon and James. So, and that's just some. There's more there, but we don't want to overwhelm you with all the levity. It can get sort of overwhelming. So how are you guys doing? It's good to see you again. We're meeting for the first time, James. Good to see you, Brandon, when we had met, at Carnegie Hall, which was that really beautiful event during the holiday time, and you knocked it out of the park with your performance. How are you guys doing with all the craziness that we've been dealing with? Things. How are you staying creative and positive through everything?
It's
I like
it's
the
a
way you look
very
at each other.
it's been a journey,
That's what you call a duo.
yeah, right.
It's
You
def-
answer.
it's definitely been a journey. We have done our best to stay positive and creative, and to kind of try and roll with the punches. And there's been quite a few of those, so there's been a lot of rolling. But we did right at the beginning of the year, when kind of the lockdown happened in New York, really um, kind of quickly and swiftly in March. We jumped on the virtual train, and we kind of did 12 or so virtual shows over the course of the next 3 months. One every a new kind of show every week, and just to try and kind of give our people, our community, something to watch, to keep them entertained, and to also keep ourselves creative. And then we've been lucky enough to be based in the Northeast, which kind of as the summer rolled around, was able to open up a little bit, and there are some venues in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, and in Provincetown, and in Algonquin, Maine, where we were able to play shows to a reduced capacity, but to actual live people, and that. We cannot tell you how much that reinvigorated our souls and our optimism, and apparently people got a lot out of it too, which was kind of wonderful, because we certainly felt like we were the winners there. But I feel like the benefit was mutual, and people really needed to be entertained, and we're really hungry for some live music, because it's so good for the soul. And so yeah, we've been lucky to do that, and now we're here in Santa Fe, and playing back in a piano bar where we got our start, kind of while people eat their dinner, and yeah, have
Cool.
a drink. And it's been it was not the year that we had planned or maybe had hoped for, but it's been still a year full of blessings, and lots of things to be grateful for.
Absolutely. And that's a beautiful thing to look at it that way with positivity is the only way you can really look at everything. How did you guys combine forces? How did you initially meet and then decide, you know what? You have what you do, I have what I do, and it really gels beautifully together. Let's put a duo together. When did that actually all happen?
Well, we met online on a dating app, and then kind of fell in love with each other first. And James was a student at Cal State Long Beach, finishing his master's degree in cello performance. And immediately I regretted dating a student again. So I thought, what am I doing? I'm in my late 30s and I'm dating a student. Like, what am I thinking? But I did it anyway, and I hired him as a musical director for a charity show that I was doing in Palm Springs, and he put a band together, and he's such a wonderful arranger and pianist. And we played just one thing with the cello and the piano and the vocals, and people responded to it in such a way that we thought, hey, maybe we have something here, and wouldn't it be convenient, if not scary, to work together as a married couple? Because if we'd had our own solo careers, we probably would never see each other until now. Um, but so we decided to join forces, and it worked for us. And people have been just so lovely and wonderful and supportive of our music and our message ever since then.
Yeah. And that's terrific. It's a great story. How do you define the music? There's a uniqueness to it that is hard to put in words. I know some reviewers have said extraordinary things, but how do you guys define what it is that you do so well together?
I would say our genre is like pop-driven classical crossover music. So we'll take songs that we'd all have heard on the radio and have been hits, and might transliterate them into Spanish or Italian or French even sometimes, and make them work for us. We try to think out of the box, and there've been other groups such that you mentioned earlier, such as the two cellos and piano guys and Jackie Venko, who've done similar things. And like the Andrea Bocellis and the Josh Grovens of the world have done a lot of things that are kind of right in the classical crossover genre, where it might be a reinvention of a classic Italian song or a Spanish bolero or something like that. And we've kind of both tend to gravitate toward more pop melodies, I guess, and work from that as our ground bass. And I think that's sort of what sets us apart from other people, because we're doing these off the wall classical covers of songs that you wouldn't necessarily expect.
I
Which
think
is
also
cool. Yeah.
we're trying to give the cello an equal kind of voicing, which is a unique concept when you're working with an actual vocalist who has the kind of lyrics as a tool to be able to express themselves with, and how do you kind of get the cello up on that level as well without using any words. So I
Yeah.
think that kind of concept is a unique one that might be setting us apart from what other people are doing too.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
You
So
know,
we're actually duetting a lot often, or it
I,
sounds that way anyway. Where
I
the cello is
mentioned on the
actual
air.
other voice.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mentioned on the air, I think just a couple of nights ago, and then I mentioned it to somebody else, and I mentioned it in my professional work to a cellist, a Juilliard graduate cellist. And I said to the cellist, I'm going to throw this out there and, make of it what you will make of it, but let me know what you think. Is it wacky what I'm thinking, or does it make sense? And he said, well, throw it at me. Go ahead. And I said, well, for me, whenever I hear the cello, um, it stops traffic for me. It's so the tonality of it, the warmth, the bass, the resonance, the just the overall dominating yet subtle at the same time, which is quite amazing. Dominating and subtle, monumental sound to the cello. Whenever I hear it in any kind of music, including Christmas music, when I hear that cello, for me, it stops traffic because I attach all of these human qualities to the sound of the cello. And I said to him, I said, for me, if the human heart had made a sound that mimicked an instrument, for me, when I hear the cello, I associate it with the warmth and depth of the heart, the human heart. Does that make sense? And he said, absolutely, I get it. And I said, well, that's why you're the cellist. He said, because the cello is the closest instrument in sound to the human voice.
That's what they say.
And that's why I'm humanizing the cello. And all of a sudden, I think of all these childhood memories and all this warmth and the prominence and importance of the cello, which is a wonderful solo instrument and a wonderful instrument playing off other, voices and harmony and orchestral, whatever it may be. But there's something about that sound that just really, stops me. It's like, oh, that's the cello. Everybody, let's just listen now. You've heard that before then about that human component to the cello.
Definitely, yeah. In fact, people come in about it all the time after they've heard us perform. It's one of the more common comments people make about how the cello. I mean, I'm biased because I'm a cellist, but I really think that the range of the cello makes it super versatile. It can be really lyrical and kind of on the higher end. It can be a bass. It can be more a guitar like. It can, yeah. It's a really cool instrument, but I
It
already know
really
that.
is. Yeah. Have you heard
Yeah,
of David Darling, the cellist?
No.
Yeah. Should listen to some of his material. He's very, very good too. He's really, really good. Nice comments too coming in. Like Bernadette says, the cello makes such beautiful music in the hands of gifted cellists like James.
oh,
Very, very
what a
nice.
sweetheart.
That's interesting. Christopher Joseph, who's also a performer in Ohio, he says a baritone voice. Should think of his instrument as a cello. Renee Katz, who's a cabaret performer, very well known in New York. Jim, I feel exactly the same way about the cello. There's something about the cello that's really cool. Moira says, "Looking good, guys. James a bit serious."
That's Moira. She's a
Moira,
friend of ours from Adelaide,
So
from my
she's
brilliant
home.
words, does she?
she's
And she's a Scotswoman who, yeah, she tells it like it is.
yeah, it's a Marcia says yes, cello makes me cry. So it can do a variety of different things, but it really plays beautifully with the two of you, with your vocal prowess, Brandon, and your incredible cellist abilities. Now we know how you guys put it together, but individually, I'll start with you, Brandon. What were some of those early things for you early on that inspired you to go into performance? Because people might remember that you also were one of the contestants on America's Got Talent as well. We had America's Got Talent winner Landau, Eugene Murphy Jr. on the show in the summertime. I think he took the sixth season. What was that like too, being a part of something like a national competition show like America's Got Talent, Brandon?
It was kind of like I always say this, being on like in a game show and in a nightmare at the same time, because it was so much pressure, but it was also so rewarding at the same time. I I I loved the experience and also feared it equally. I would say. Where did Jim go?
He's there. He's just
Oh,
letting people see us.
oh,
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, he got it. That's right. That's right. One James to the next. He understands.
I thought we
We're
lost Jim.
giving you the
It was a Jim
stage.
thing.
That's a Jim thing. We're giving you guys the stage. So how did that happen for you? Was it something you wanted to do, or did you fell into that with America's Got Talent, Brandon? How'd that happen?
Well, I kind of started singing later, and as far as singers are concerned, I wasn't one of those singers who started at 4 years old, or I've been singing my whole life. I started when I was 17. I'm generally a very shy person, and still am, especially in smaller groups, more than I am in larger groups. And I've never uh, I never really wanted to perform as a young person. I played piano as a kid, but I would never play at home when company came over. My mom would always say like, "Play the piano for your grandma. She's here for dinner. You know, you're not going to see her for a while." And I would just be too frightened to do things like that. Um, so it's strange that I ended up on a TV show like America's Got Talent, because that there's so much scrutiny and the cameras are in your face the whole time. But ever since the first season of American Idol, I just became kind of enamored with that competition reality series thing, and I'd auditioned for American Idol several times and for The Voice, and they all said your voice is great, but you're classical, and we don't know what to do with you. And then some friends of mine said, well, you should audition for America's Got Talent, and I had never watched the show until then. And then I think I caught the first season. I was working at Lyric Opera at Chicago at the time, and Jackie Venko was on, and
Yeah.
sort of intermissions of our productions, there's a TV in our green room, and I'd see her, and she was 10 years old at the time and could just sing beautifully and operatically. And I thought, well, hey, maybe this is the right avenue for me. So I decided to just stand in line one January evening in the middle of an ice storm in Chicago, and I made it to the final. So I was lucky to have that experience for sure.
That is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. And to be able to talk about it early on when you were a kid, did you have musical influences within the family that inspired you, Brandon?
I did. My grandfather was a country singer. My dad's dad. He was born in Iowa, and he toured with Johnny Cash and Elvis Presley and Carl Perkins and Jerry Lee Lewis, and had uh, two or three pretty big country music hits. He was a honky tonk singer songwriter, and eventually the band moved out to California and started to do a lot of recording and touring. And his band members eventually left and moved back to Iowa because they said they were homesick and California wasn't the right place for him. So my grandfather um, took all of the money that he earned from music and bought a couple of mobile gas stations and ran them with his brother until he retired. And that was kind of his story. But I always admired him as a kid, and would love going to their house in Denver where they lived, his whole basement was just, like trophies and plaques and
Yeah.
instruments and signed guitars from Johnny Cash and all this memorabilia of really cool stuff. And although I wasn't a singer at the time, I was definitely influenced by the kind of work that he did. And then when I discovered that I could sing, I started writing songs a bit and just really started to understand through him what it was like to be a musician and a professional musician, and how much work and dedication it takes to really make it kind of happen.
Absolutely. You got to have the resilience and the stamina. Absolutely. Put in the time, the blood, sweat, and tears. What would you consider was one of the first doors that opened for you? First opportunities that really opened things up to where you can go forward with it?
That's a good question.
Was there a production you were a part of or an opportunity that came along early on for you?
Well, I was in my third year of college at the San Francisco Conservatory of Music. That's where I spent my undergrad. And at the time, there was just 250 students, a very small school, and I was working as a waiter to make some extra money while I was going to school at this place called Max's Opera Cafe. It was right next to the San Francisco Opera House, and uh, a friend of mine who was waiting there, we were all singing waiters, and she said to me one day, I know a guy who's a musical director for this hotel in Switzerland, and they're looking for a tenor. Would you be interested in auditioning? And I said, sure, but how am I going to audition for something in Switzerland? And I ended up having a phone call with him a couple days later, and we auditioned over the phone, which was the still to this day the strangest audition I've ever done over a long distance phone call, as you might call it, in the late '90s at the time. But would say that was kind of the most pivotal thing in my early days, career wise, just because it gave me the opportunity to travel and you learn so much about yourself and about the world and about um, everything life has to offer when you take yourself out of your comfort zone. And I learned how to speak. That's where I learned how to speak German and Italian, and really just became enamored with classical music and culture and wine and food and all the good things I love now.
Yeah. And no in particular order, right?
No, I couldn't tell you if I like food or music or
Or
wine.
music or food, exactly.
Or your
How about
husband.
you, James? I
It's all
mean, you
right
have a
too.
wonderful background too. Was there a musical family involved too? What were some of those early inspirations for you growing up that turned
Um,
your inspiration into music?
My parents were just very, or kind of all about giving me the opportunity, and they kind of realized early on. We had a piano, as many families did in our house, that I was kind of drawn to early on. And my sister was having lessons, and I would go along and kind of try and play her songs by ear, which she hated. But they realized that I needed lessons, so I kind of was just given lessons and was drawn to it, and they kind of really encouraged me. So I kind of have my parents to thank for the opportunity to learn and to get me into a school that fostered kind of my musicianship, and then I was a high school music teacher for a bit, and I was kind of freelancing as a cellist on the side, playing gigs in Adelaide, and I had the chance to play with some great kind of Broadway and other performers, and that kind of really was performing with like people like Bernadette Peters and Idina Menzel that kind of made me want to be a touring cellist actually, and so I decided to go and do my master's in California, and my kind of plan was to hopefully network enough to be able to get some gigs once I'd finished that. And then a year into my studies, I met Brandon, and we've been playing together ever since.
I think his ultimate goal was Sarah Bareilles, but he got stuck with me instead. So.
I mean, I got a husband and a green card and a career, so I mean that's more than Sarah Bareilles was going to give me.
I was going to say, the American dream has happened, right? The land of opportunity.
It's happening.
So that's fantastic. Did you also toy with some other instruments as well, James, besides cello?
Piano have played forever. That was actually my first instrument, and then I took violin for a year. But my violin teacher's instance, she said I should go and play the cello. So I took that up, and yeah, piano and cello were really my things. I can dabble in a
Show him your
basic other
hands.
stuff. No.
Show him your hands. His big giant hands. So his, yeah. See, look at the difference. He's like a tall, lanky person, and his teacher said
You should play cello.
that
That was she's like
suited
it
his
would be
body
a good
type
career
better.
move for you to play cello. I think she secretly just wanted a cello in school orchestra. So anyway, it worked out for both of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Bernadette says, in reference to the other Bernadette, Bernadette Peters, the Queen, what an experience for you. What was that like working with Bernadette and Idina Menzel and some of
It
these
was
other?
Bernadette Peters was one of my most favorite performances. She is just such a beautiful singer, and she sang all this stuff from Sweeney Todd. Like she sang Joanna, which is traditionally sung by a man, but the way she sang it, I was like beaming on stage. It was so wonderful. She's like a consummate professional. Her artistry is wonderful. The way that she spoke with the crowd, which was a very full theater over 2 nights. She was just so sophisticated and wonderful and funny and herself, but just such a wonderful artist. I had such a blast performing with her. It was, yeah,
That's great.
amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you remember the first time that you guys performed together, what the project was, or where the venue was, or was it in a studio first?
Well, it was first at that concert in Palm Springs that I mentioned earlier, but
That was the
then
one.
it really was here in Santa Fe. It's so funny how life comes full circle. We were meant to be touring the Midwest right now in performing arts centers, but obviously the pandemic changed things. So we came back from the place where we first started. So I had moved to Los Angeles shortly after my time on America's Got Talent. I finished a contract in Chicago at the Opera and then moved out to LA to kind of try my hand in the more commercial world. I'd been really focused on classical music up until that point in 2014. And that's where I met you. And then I brought him out here to Santa Fe into this piano bar, and people don't expect a cello to show up in a piano bar. So they were all like, well, what the heck is going on? We don't even, this is amazing, but also so unique, I think is the word they used all the time, huh?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so it was really in a piano bar by taking requests where we developed a sound that was ours and that was special based on other people's suggestions. So we really just took their advice. We thought, a lot of people are may not be musicians, but are more perceptive than sometimes we give them credit for, and know a lot more about music and than they even think themselves. So we really took a lot of their suggestions and turned them into kind of our own arrangements, and that's how we created our sound. I would say that sort of incubation period where we played here for a period of 7 months, 5 nights a week, weren't we?
Hmm.
Yeah.
What was
Um,
the initial Santa Fe connection? What was the attraction originally to Santa Fe?
there was none.
None.
Literally, I was in Los Angeles. I didn't want to go back and wait tables, and I was struggling to find work as a musician. And I left my a job I could have been in for a long time at the opera. With great benefits and health insurance, all that stuff. I was singing in the chorus full time there at Lyric Opera in Chicago, and I just started looking on Craigslist into the talent section for gigs because I was just wanted to make money as a singer, and I found this piano bar gig in Santa Fe, and I never really played and accompanied myself on piano publicly, but I could play enough. So I thought, hey, why don't I go out and try my hand and see what happens? So I did once, and the people liked me, and I came back with him, and then they liked me more.
The rest is history.
And they liked me more. That's a duo. That's fantastic. So you guys have really been recognized by so many people for the uniqueness of what you do. Who were some of the people, maybe as you guys were coming up the ranks, either collectively or individually, that not necessarily that you aspired to, but maybe people that you always looked up to in your respective fields, like for you being a vocalist, Brandon, and you being a musician, James, were there different people that you always sort of looked up to and enjoyed their performances as well and their talent and craftsmanship?
For certain, I bet we have different answers for this probably
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Huh? Funny, it's always dreamt of working with Sarah Bareilles, but she's someone who has inspired me since I first heard her song "Gravity" when she was still a student at UCLA in the musical theater department. She wrote the song Gravity and performed it with her a cappella group. And I kind of followed her around before her first big hit Love Song. So she's always been a huge inspiration to me. And then also Renee Fleming, who I think just has the most amazing, versatile voice. I love her because she is such a tried and true classical singer and has always been on the operatic stage, but has branched out and done this whole crossover thing so beautifully and seamlessly. So those are the two people who really inspired me. How about you?
I think I was drawn to cellists who were amazing technicians but did stuff that was not classical. Like Yo-Yo Ma, I think has had a very legitimate classical career, but also he has the Goat Rodeo sessions where he kind of does that more bluegrass style thing. He's done a lot of stuff with South American tangos. He has done a lot of film scores. He kind of has popularized the cello before kind of classical pop was a thing, and then of course like the duo, the two cellos, and the piano guys who have both used the cello in really unique ways and kind of made cello cool and kind of rocky and poppy, all those kind of things. I think I've really like looked to those people for my inspiration.
Those are good choices too. I mean, those are some really, really good ones. Merlin in Canada says you look like, I forget their names, HGTV, the guys that are one of the Property Brothers. James, they say that have you heard that before?
Yeah.
You get confused or what?
I don't know
What are
who.
their names? I forget their names. They're so popular.
I forget their names too. It is, yeah.
I just thought he's dressed like David from Schitt's Creek.
Yeah, this is my Ew David
That's,
sweater.
oh yeah, that's right. See, everybody sees they see the Property Brothers. Have you been doing repairs around the house there? Or
Oh, heck no. You wouldn't want me to repair anything.
He does the
right?
laundry, and I'm happy for
Yeah.
that.
Drew and Jonathan Scott, that's who they are.
That's
That's right.
right.
Oh,
That is funny. So you were mentioning that before all of this craziness happened in 2020, you had a lot of things lined up and performances and tours and things of that nature. And Avril Britton is watching once again in England and Hampshire. Good to see Avril. Hi, Jim and everyone. The show, Happy Tunes. Welcome to Brandon and James. You got some love coming in from Great Britain tonight as well. So you guys, you had some things set up, and then how did it work? Did you get a call from a manager who said we're going to have to sort of pause right now because of everything going on?
yeah, the producer of the tour. We were. I think March 13th. We played a corporate convention for a well 2,500 corporate entertainment buyers at the Mandalay Bay, and it was meant to be 5,000. So things had started hitting the fan, so to speak, with COVID. And we were just coming off this long stint. We'd been in Puerto Vallarta, we'd been all over South America, and on the front end of that, we were all over Asia, weren't we?
Yep.
So we'd been traveling for the better part of 4 months, and then COVID happened. We get home to our place in New York. 2 days later, we both calmed down with COVID. Um,
Oh, you guys had COVID.
we did, yeah,
Oh, I didn't know
yeah.
that. I must have missed that. Yeah, you
We
did.
we talked about it in some of our online concerts, but we
Yeah.
didn't like make a public
And we
post
weren't like
about it.
100% sure that we had it until we finally got the antibody
Antibodies.
test in late May or June. I forget where it was, but
What was it like, and was it different for each of you, or did you have similar reactions to it?
He was worse than I
we had
was.
similar symptoms. Just mine was a little more severe, but nothing we couldn't kind of manage at home. So we were lucky there. But
Yeah.
I lost my taste and smell sense for a good couple of weeks, which was kind of very, very strange. It's such a weird symptom to get. But we
Yeah.
both had really chesty coughs. It was actually the chesty cough and the kind of fever bit that made us realize how dangerous it is as a virus, because if you weren't fit enough to like be able to get your cough happening, then I could see how it would really cause people trouble. It
Yeah.
was yeah, it was kind of, I mean, it was scary, but it
Yeah.
wasn't. We were lucky to have like other friends going through it at the same time, so we kind of just like shared notes and kind of I had a doctor friend who was very helpful to us about how to like manage it at home. And to be
Yeah.
honest, like compared to what a lot of people have experienced, we didn't need hospitalization or anything, so we didn't really experience it that bad.
Very, very lucky. And Brandon, you probably were helped by all the vocal training, I would imagine, breathing from the diaphragm since you were a kid.
I was doing those big chesty kind of breathing exercises to make sure I was okay. But yeah, that period in the first couple of weeks where it's just we both had COVID and we are in New York and cancellation, postponement, all this stuff. It was rather discouraging. I'm not
Sure.
gonna lie, and it's we had uh, the better part of the next 2 years kind of planned out, and things have changed, but we're both um, light and happy about it now because it really amounted to getting in front of people again and being able to connect and feel that energy in the room and exchange that energy. And while we didn't mind doing the virtual concerts, and people at home certainly loved it, and we loved being there for them in that sense as they were there for us, income wise, there was still something. There's just something missing when you're
Something
not.
missing. Everybody's saying
Yeah.
that.
You
Yeah.
don't get the energy exchange in
Yep.
that you do from being in the same space as other people. That's what we miss the most, I think, right? Even though people are writing comments and you're getting feedback, it's not the same. It felt very strange, like you're in some kind of weird vacuum.
Bernadette
Oh,
says,
thank you,
so
Bernadette.
glad you both fully recovered. And Anne says, will you still be in Santa Fe during Christmas? Love to check out the performance, the one that you're doing. Um,
Actually, we're just here until November 2nd. We were meant to play a couple Christmas shows here, but the theater is closed, so
When
it's
Yeah, we're meant to go down to Puerto Vallarta for the entire summer. Summer I say because it's warm down
winter.
there. Winter. Um, yeah,
Australian summer.
we normally go there
Yeah.
for about 6 weeks every year to play residency at the Palm Cabaret, which we've been doing now. Will be our fifth season. This year, because all of our normal work was canceled, we just
Yeah.
elected to go down there for the entire season. And things change on a daily. We're just kind of grateful to wake up and be alive and know that all of our friends and family and people who are closest to us are healthy and be able to continue to make music right now. And I try not to worry too much about it. He's better at it than I am about not worrying than I am. Um,
About the
but
COVID
you wouldn't
situation,
know just about the
Life.
future of music
everything
and
that's going on,
yeah,
right?
and what are
Yeah.
we gonna do and all those kind of questions.
Right.
One day at a time. I'm all about this year. We can make plans, but I just kind of assume that they're all going to end up being dashed, and if they don't, that's a bonus. So we just kind of do what we can, one thing at a time, and we'll make bigger plans eventually.
Well, the key is you have, family and you have each other and you're together and you made it through the other side of COVID of all things. So the fact that you're sitting there, and you can talk about it and you haven't lost your ability to sing and play and that's still intact, which is a blessing. And I'm sure that you guys count those blessings every day, which is a really good positive way to look at everything, right? Because there's a lot of people that are not as positive or just really hurting in so many different ways, not just physically but mentally, and it can be a very dark place. But you've got each other to when one is down, you have the other one to help lift up, and then when the other one's down, vice versa. And that's a really important thing to have, right? To have that support, to have that togetherness, to get
It
through things
really
like
is.
this.
Yeah, we have some colleagues that are still in their apartments in New York City, kind of doing the virtual thing, or have just been exhausted from doing the virtual thing and aren't doing it anymore. And they live by themselves, so they don't even have a roommate necessarily to lift them up when those times come. So there's so many silver linings in this period that I always have to remind myself of. We've had the most beautiful human connections with people all over the place, both virtually and physically in our building. We were doing some really wonderful musical collaborations with people that live in our building in New York City. So we've really just had a surprisingly fun time despite all the tragedy and chaos that there is.
Yeah, very much. So a lot of people are who have been doing the online have been saying now all these months later, if they've done it that long, like what you said, they're getting exhausted doing it and they're pulling back, or it just becomes because it seems easier. You just flip everything on and you just do something, but I know from even doing these shows, and I do hosting and all that for a living and everything, but balancing it with the professional work and then doing this on a nightly basis for 25 weeks or whatever, there is an exhaustion factor. There's all the planning, there's all the elements involved. Everything has to be right.
All the
Your
tech stuff
Wi-Fi
that you
has
have
to
to
be
learn that.
working. If your Wi-Fi doesn't work, everything is down the tubes. It's not
Mm.
like being on stage or in a TV studio or radio studio or whatever, where things are plugged in and things can happen, but
But
the
you also might have a
Wi-Fi
little
is,
bit more help and
yeah,
support than you do when you're by yourself in an apartment. Like normally, when you go to a stage, there's a tech crew that runs the sound and lights, and now suddenly you're having to learn your own sound and lights. Not to mention like all the rest that goes along with it. There's a lot of learning curves. That's actually one of the things we kind of felt most grateful about in the first instance. It was frustrating for us to learn all that stuff, all the technical stuff in particular, but we know a lot of people in their kind of getting towards the end of their careers perhaps who are having to reinvent themselves and learn a lot of stuff that were just so frustrated by the whole process. We felt really awful actually. That a lot of artists really hurting this year.
it's a tough for everybody, but especially the artists, because the places where they do the business is
There's
they're all
nowhere to do
closed
it.
and shuttered, and it's because of the structure of the way the theaters are and the venues. I mean, sports has tried to do some of it. I know they're doing the fake clapping and the fake noise and everything, but they've brought some people in space. But again, when you're dealing sometimes with a stadium or a coliseum, they're monstrous facilities. A lot of theaters, the seating is really tight, and it's just more intimate, and it's enclosed oftentimes. And I know they're talking about maybe repositioning seating, and uh, there was something that the Kennedy Center did recently. I don't know if you had heard about that, where they actually did a performance, but it was very socially distanced. I don't know if they removed seats or they just had people really very, very
Spread
spaced
out.
out. I mean, it wasn't, I don't even think, a quarter to a half full, what it normally would be. And it was for some special thing that they really wanted to still do. And then people were looking at that as a possible sign that maybe other venues could follow suit. But financially and all of the time it takes to do that right is going to be a real undertaking. And this is where the arts definitely need to be supported, because a lot of people, as you guys know, they're turning to the arts right now as much as they are gardening and other hobbies and reading and baking and doing all these cool things, getting in touch with their family. The arts are really getting people through this. They're going to music, they're going to old movies and
Film and
nostalgic TV
TV for
shows. And
sure.
yeah, they're going to the stuff from childhood and nostalgia and really
Mm.
the comfort food. We're all eating all the comfort food that, we thought we stopped eating it as kids, and now we're going and buying Pop Tarts in the store and all that. Like, what? Captain Crunch. Wait a minute. I thought we stopped that. All that stuff that makes you
Cocoa.
watch potatoes. Yeah. So that's what's happening. But music, as you guys know, is very, very healing too, isn't it? It's got such healing
Qualities for
properties, and
sure.
yeah, and that's really important. I mean, so you've been in touch with some of your fellow artists, and some of them are having a little bit of a rough go at this here. They don't know, because there's no end game so far.
It's just this awful waiting game, and also like if you're like at the top of your game as a cellist or something, and you that's all you kind of know is how to play the cello. I feel really bad for people that now have to learn how to be really good at the internet and really good at social media and really good at technology to kind of figure out how to reach their audience when it's not something that they've ever known before or wanted to know. Like people are having to really, really, really kind of reinvent themselves. Um,
That's what it is, yeah, because you're now the producer, the technical director, as Brandon realized, he's the lighting director tonight.
Yes, I didn't anticipate it getting dark.
the sun is
That's,
I
going
should
down
have
though.
thought about that. But
that's
we have lights at home in our apartment in New York City, but we just don't travel with I guess we should get like a portable ring light or something for
That's
something.
the big
things
thing.
like this.
Ring lights are selling out, and so are webcams.
Oh, and let me
And
tell you,
toilet paper.
and outdoor heaters right now, because for the venues they can have outdoor spaces, and it's getting into winter. They're on back order for weeks. Let me tell you.
The restaurants are doing it too. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
people. Some people are still not, are afraid to go in, so they're doing the bubble. How are things there in New Mexico? Do you find in New Mexico people are taking it all seriously, or are they more lenient, laid back? Are they
I
how
would
do you
say
find
that there's a real mixture.
Yeah, we can't really speak for the whole state because we're in Santa Fe and it's a area of about 100,000 the population, which isn't far from Albuquerque, which has about 600,000 to a million in its metro area.
yes,
I know that we kind of get that we've been
The
reading the Santa
daily.
Fe Reporter for many years now since we've been playing here and we're so fond of this place, but we get like a daily update of county by county where all the cases are, and most of them are in the heavily populated areas. In Santa Fe, in particular, it tends to be and I hate to say this, but it tends to be a more democratic area, and people take the virus seriously, and they believe in wearing masks, and they listen to the scientists.
Follow
And
the protocols and
I don't understand how a pandemic ever became a political issue, but it has, so we have to talk about it. So yes, in Santa Fe, people are taking it seriously because it is real. And in other counties, just based on case numbers we read, I'm guessing they're maybe not following all the guidelines.
the restrictions definitely got tighter just as we were getting into town, and they were reducing amount of inside capacity for restaurants. Yeah, bars and that kind of thing are not really open. So
And we have lost some audience members, people who just don't want to come inside, and we understand. And I think everyone should do
what
what
they're
they're comfortable
comfortable
with.
with.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. Oh, see. Now, Anne, who's in Florida, and I know Florida sort of flipped the switch and just opened everything, but yet their cases are really through the roof. So you got to be
Oh
really
wow.
careful with family and friends in Florida.
I'll
So,
be so interested to see about that because the symphony. I wonder if the players in the symphony will all be next to each other, or if they'll be a little more spread out. Or I'll be interested to
Tuesday,
see how that works
dinner
out.
theater on Tuesday. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Everybody's be socially distant and do what you can because you don't want to have any of these super spreader events.
Events. I
Absolutely,
know
yeah.
it's
And
the
it's
whole
like
thing is very tricky because we can't let the economy tank either. But you got to like have healthy people and not overrun your health system. So there's this kind of fine line of homeostatic relationship between keeping people healthy and then
Keeping people
keeping
fed.
people fed and
uh,
employed.
right,
It's
right.
tricky, real tricky.
Hopefully the you know government will kick in with some more stimulus and help people out a little bit here. I think that's probably on the way. But so. How far out are you guys looking, or if you just you're like you say, you're going to put a bioreactor and this cool things like that are happening, which is great. Do you see yourself having to do more things out of the United States, possibly before you end up doing things in the States again, if other areas are faring much better?
I think it's probably the opposite of what you're saying. Surprisingly, because we can't travel anywhere yet, and I think until
Right.
travel bans are lifted on Americans, we're not going anywhere. And a lot of our work was
Cruise ship.
previously international. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we'd often, fly on into a luxury cruise ship and play two shows, and then fly somewhere else and kind of stay over there, globe trotting a bit for a period of 6 weeks or 8 weeks, and then we'd come home for a couple nights and unpack and repack and do it all again. And we
Did
were
you
just
enjoy
kind of
that? Did you like
moving.
all the travel and all the different
It was
destinations?
wonderful.
Well, we love
Being
being
there.
in locations.
The actual traveling is a nightmare.
It's
It's just a schlep, to carry all your luggage, and you're on red eyes all the time, like 16-hour flights to Dubai and all sorts of not really fun things. But once you get there and you get to explore different places and meet all the people, we're all about it. We love new cultures, new food, new climates. That was we both loved that.
But
Anywhere that you haven't been that you would like to go to, still on that list of, oh, I hope we end up with a gig there.
oh yeah,
Israel. I definitely want to
oh,
go to
me
Israel
too.
and Argentina. We would love to go to. We've been to like really southern Argentina, but never to Buenos Aires, and we would love to, I think, go there.
Yeah.
I don't mean to keep speaking for you.
No, you're fine. He had more coffee than I did before this interview, so that's why.
Ready to go.
That's it. Let's go. Bring it on. Um, so have you done Greece and places like that too? And
Yeah, we've
Berlin?
traveled together to so many, I don't know,
Like,
what, 50 maybe countries together, which has been amazing.
and there are
Um,
places we would love to go back to.
yeah. Yeah, we had such an incredible experience just around Christmas time with Japanese audiences.
Oh,
And
really?
they really, really loved our style of music. And
Even though we didn't speak any Japanese or like two sentences, and they didn't really speak any English, so we somehow managed to communicate with one another and had a really great time.
yeah, and they tend to be a very reserved culture in general, and audiences they're no difference, but they do this thing at the end. They don't stand up and scream when you sing a high note like Americans do.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
much more reserved, but they have this that
Their
clapping thing
applause was so loud and fast,
in unison,
and like
like
it was kind of like anything we had ever heard before. We'd never really experienced it.
yeah. So I would love to go back and perform for some more Japanese audiences. I feel like it seems like that was a good
That
test. They
was
like our music.
they did. It
Yeah,
was fun.
yeah, which is great. So that's a great area to go back to. We have some cool shots here too, and then I love to talk about the book that you penned, sort of a memoir. Tell us about this shot here. It's a cool one.
Oh, thank you. That comes from a place. There's a ghost town outside of Las Vegas. It's about 30 minutes drive. I can't remember what it's called. Jacob's Landing, something Landing. Anyhow,
Yeah,
it's this old ghost town with all these amazing buildings. There's another a shot that you showed earlier where in the backdrop is actually a crashed plane. And outside of
mhm.
Las Vegas, as you could imagine, there's no vegetation, so it really looks kind of like you're on the moon. Um,
Yeah,
and or in this post-apocalyptic thing. So we did a whole bunch of those shots there with a friend and collaborator, a photographer, and social media
Yeah,
guy
that's
we
the
knew named
one. But
Justin. Yeah.
the rest of that picture, there's a plane behind us.
really? A crash?
Yeah, that's kind of crashed into the kind of hill behind it.
Wow. Wait, so that's that spot. That's a great shot too. Really is a great. Wait, was it just a publicity shot, or was this part of a performance?
They were publicity shots.
Yeah, nice. This one too.
That's in Italy.
That's in Cremona.
Oh, is it really?
We were in the
Yes.
middle of shooting a music video, and there was this. Yeah, I mean, you're surrounded by beautiful things there. So,
Sure. Yeah,
That's also like in a trailer of one of those ghost town little places,
that's cool.
and that was in a studio in Malibu.
yep.
Malibu. Nice. How about this one
Yeah.
here?
That shot came from that same sort of Vegas photo shoot, and then "Till We See" was an original song that we recorded on our recent album called "Chasing Dreams," which we released at the end of July, and that was a song and a video that we dedicated to the Black Lives Matter movement
Mm,
that we shot actually in our apartment using all the footage that we'd taken from early protests in New York City, and we projected them kind of on our faces and on the walls and shot this music video. We had to get really creative, trying to keep content coming within the confines of our apartment. So we were just
right.
trying to do new and interesting things with projectors.
That's cool. That's cool. And what's the response been so far to that? Because that's obviously music with a message.
Yeah, that's something that we kind of feel strongly about, and a lot of what I wrote about in the book about just being authentic, about being transparent, about being who you are and sharing your story with people. I think even pre-pandemic we were suffering a lot with that. We let policy and we let disagreements divide us, but that's not what connects us as human beings. There's so much more that connects us than just the the tenets of the things that we believe in, or our politics or our policy. And um, art, as you mentioned, is such a wonderful thing, that a language that we all speak, which is why I think everyone's going back and being nostalgic and gravitating to music and to movies and TV shows and things like that right now, because it's a language we can all connect on, even though we're so divided in this election year and culturally, and the planet has different ways that they're all dealing with COVID, and I feel like art is something that we all really need right now.
That's right, exactly. Everybody's loving all the photos as well. Juanita says, guys are very photogenic.
Oh,
We have
thank you.
Photoshop is a beautiful thing.
Beautiful. So getting some love from South Africa. And where's that one from Marsha Watson? I think James, you might have caught this one because I saw you start smiling. Was that the one that said, y'all are heartthrobs?
That was very funny. Thank you, Marsha. You're sweet.
I
Now,
love the
Willie
levity.
have you guys performed in Holland, in Netherlands?
We have not.
Not a land performance. We joined a cruise there, and in Amsterdam, and performed on that a couple nights, but never in a venue there.
No, but we did get kind of the Rolling Hill windmill experience because we recorded our most recent album in Belgium,
Oh,
which
yeah.
looks very similar to Holland
Just
in
across the border.
some places. Yeah,
And we spent a week in Amsterdam for summer right at their Pride time when we had like one of the best weeks of our life. It was so fun.
just riding around bikes.
We love the Dutch
So
people.
much fun.
The city's all bikes, right? Yeah, it's all
All bikes, and the
bikes.
weather was perfect, and the food and everything was great.
Stroop waffles and chocolate and
Exactly.
beer and cheese and
All the good things.
the tulips.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're trying to look ahead, you're trying to be positive, and you have some new things too. We'll talk about the book in just a second, but new music, new material that's out as well, right? Tell us about that.
Yeah,
So,
as you were just mentioning, we made this album in Belgium, and then we just released it in July worldwide. So yeah,
congratulations.
it features. Thank you. It's kind of one of an album that we're very very proud of. Got to work with this great classical crossover producer Patrick Hamilton, who is from Belgium, and for people in that world, he's produced for Catherine Jenkins, a really big British star, for Jackie Evenko. He's a great performer in his own right. He just released a number one piano album actually, on Decca, which is really wonderful to listen to if you need some soothing piano music. And so yeah, we got to record this album with him. It features an orchestra from Budapest, and it's a very eclectic mix of songs from Ed Sheeran to Italian kind of art songs to stuff from The Greatest Showman, and some Roxette. It's a very strange mix of things, but that's what we do best, is a strange mix of things. So it kind of represents us, and yeah, we released it in July, and it seems to be going over well. People seem to be really liking it. Someone in LA rated us the number one unsigned artist of 2020, which was kind of cool for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, it seems to be going well, and people can find that on all the streaming across the world on Spotify and
Pandora, Apple
Apple
Music.
Music, all those things. It's called Chasing Dreams, which was an important title for us because it kind of represented what we were chasing. It was a dream for both of us, and we were going for it. And it's also a nice little mashup of chasing cars and A Million Dreams,
So
which
the
was,
first two tracks on our album.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you like to, how about, I know you mentioned you do a lot of covers, original music as well, songwriting and preparing a lot of your own compositions and lyrics?
Um, we really haven't done a lot lately. There's one song that I co-wrote with a friend on the album that James is talking about, Chasing Dreams. It's called "You Belong," which is a message song about inclusivity. Really, um, I don't know. I guess I had this like floodgates open. I got out of a bad relationship and changed jobs and lives and was struggling with my career. And then when I met him, I got really happy, and suddenly I couldn't write any more songs.
He's like Adele.
So I need something really bad to happen again, and then I could write those heartbreaking songs that just get you right in the soul.
Hmm.
I would like to explore more songwriting with you. Maybe we could
We
make
should
some
do
time
that.
for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be
You
fun.
heard it here first on the Jim Masters Show Live. Yet again, another world exclusive, folks. They're going to write some more material for us. That's cool. Um, do you have anything in mind as far as what that would be? Do you like more of the sentimental songs or the energetic material or
We gravitate towards more ballad style, definitely with a really lyrical melody line for Brandon's vocals to kind of shine the best. And also the cello tends to tend towards more melancholy style
yeah,
sounding music. That's what
yeah,
people like about the cello, I think. So
I
that's
do, yeah.
kind of where we gravitate towards the the Il Divo, the Josh Groban, the Andrea Bocelli sounding songs.
Yeah, and that's great stuff as well. And what's in your well, I was going to say CD player, if that's even, can you even say that anymore?
What's a CD?
Well, yeah, what's a CD? Certificate of deposit. What kind of music do you guys like to listen to, separate from what you play and what you do?
I think an eclectic mix of things. I have go-to workout playlists.
That are high energy.
Yeah, I have trouble sleeping sometimes in the middle of the night, so I have a lot of meditative music that I listen to, and then I like a lot of singer-songwriter stuff, sort of that tends to be melancholy, and I'm really people are gravitated towards songs for different reasons. Lyrics always catch me first and always move me, and then sort of melody and composition second to that. How about you?
I like a lot of deep house and electronica music. I like pop. I love a band called why am I blanking on their names?
Darling Side?
I love Darlington. They're from Boston. They're kind of an alternative, almost orchestral sounding vocal group from Boston. But Years and Years is a band I really like from England. Yeah, I like a lot of classical music. I love choral music. That's kind of my go-to. It depends what mood. We're both Geminis, so it depends. There's music for all different moods, and we go through several moods a day. So
At least.
Have you performed in Australia together?
we
Yeah.
have just in Adelaide mostly, where I'm from, because that's where the fan base is
And the family.
Yeah.
and the family. So yeah,
What was
Adelaide
that
a
like
lot.
when you guys performed there for the first time? Like for you going back home, James, was it sort of like, hometown boy makes good? Hey, we're, rooting for you guys. And that
For
must have been
sure.
incredible, huh?
Kind of exactly how it felt like.
Yeah, it was really awesome. I had such a I can remember that those concerts we did a couple in the venue there. It was really fun. Really, really fun.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
so we try to go back every year to play shows there for the his hometown crowd and keep all the Australians happy.
Do you always
Yeah.
get the families wanting you guys to play too? Hey, can you just do happy birthday? Or just, you probably get a lot of requests from friends and family all the time.
We're pretty lucky. Not this it sounds like I think it's a burden. Sometimes it does feel like a burden, but like I said, I'm a shy person, especially in small groups. I get really clammy and sweaty, to be honest. It's weird. But a lot of people don't make us sing for our supper as often as you might think.
Right,
Um,
right, exactly.
yeah, they come to our shows and they might invite us out for dinner or over to their house or whatever, but they understand that it's our off time and sometimes we like to just be people and not performers too.
Not always working because as much as it's pleasure for others and pleasure for you to do it, there's so much work involved underneath it. We were talking about this several times actually with some of the guests, how one of the key things to all of what we all do is to make everything look so easy and effortless. That's why everybody wants to do it. They're like, oh, I could pick up the cello and do that, or I can just start singing or hosting or whatever. And they don't necessarily always tap into the fact that in order to do all of this, there's a lot of time put in and hours and years and sacrifice and all these things and you need sometimes that the downtime to recharge and reboot and I mean the key is to make all this look so easy, right?
Hmm.
Yes, exactly, which you are doing brilliantly. I like the little uh, kind of moody studio,
So
Levity
vibe,
Hall.
Levity Hall, yeah, calming and vibe filled, colorful.
Yeah.
um, What do you guys do to recharge and reboot and sort of like refresh? Like if you go on, you're on a tour where you're going from city to city and, planes and trains and automobiles, and you want to rest and where do you go? What kind of, well, you don't have to tell everybody the addresses, they'll follow you, but what kinds of things do you guys do? What is your go-to stuff to reboot and just refresh and get that energy recharged again?
We exercise a fair amount. We love to get out in nature if we can. If we're traveling abroad, we always go exploring. Sometimes to see tourist sites, but oftentimes just to kind of go into a city and people watch and sit in a cafe and have a meal and a coffee or a glass of wine
Or
and
ride our
just
bikes around, or
yeah, we like to ride bikes or rent bikes and kind of ride them and see cities that way.
Yeah.
Um,
we like to when because we are traveling so often, we do like to see our friends as much as possible. So it's important to us to kind of connect with our friends often, and we love food and wine, so often those elements are involved as well. Yeah, I'd say we also like to at the end of the day kind of chill out by watching binge-worthy TV shows or movies that where we like to do that as well.
I like to cook a lot. I was kind of
And I like to eat, so that's good.
Ooh, do you have a specialty that is you're known for, Brandon? This crowd. If you mention, I can tell you this audience. You mention food, you've got them.
that's kind of the window to my soul too.
Yeah.
I would say what maybe
Breakfast pasta.
Italian and Mexican are kind of probably my
Oh, he
strongest
Any
grizzly with the
particular
Mexican.
dish that you whip up that you're known for that you like to create? Uh-oh.
No.
See
Oh,
what I
did we
said?
hear food? I just
Did
saw
we hear food? Uh-oh.
that.
So you better come up with something. What?
He makes a really awesome chestnut soup, which is great for fall and winter. And
That
he
sounds good.
also makes this wonderful breakfast pasta that
That's
I
what he
want to
calls it.
say I helped to inspire because I will eat breakfast at any point of the day. But
Yeah.
he'll like make the basil pesto from scratch, and
Wow.
then cook some pasta and put all these delicious things in it. And it's kind of yeah, it's a
And
basil
Wow.
then
pesto based
poach
thing
an
with
egg and put an egg on top of the pasta.
yeah, with some bacon in there
Oh,
and
that's
some chili.
cool.
It's so delicious.
That sounds good. Now the chestnut soup. I'm a soup person. I love comfort foods anyway. I love the comfort foods, mashed potato. That's the Irish part of me, the mashed potatoes. But what's the chestnut soup about? What's in that? That sounds good.
It's so good. So they're roasted chestnuts, of course, and really the base is celery root. So you take a celery root and peel all the brown spots off it, and then kind of cut it up into cubes and um, put it in a big pot with some stock and let it kind of reduce until it gets soft. And then you add the chestnuts and some butter and some armagnac and some cream
All the
and
good things.
nutmeg and all the good stuff. And then you uh, kind of foam some milk and like cappuccino foam and use that as a garnish. And the last thing I'm forgetting is steeped prunes. So the night before, I soak prunes in port wine or in Armagnac. So they steep for 24 hours, and you put that in a garnish in the middle of the bowl, and kind of just like eat a tiny little piece of the steeped prune with the chestnut soup. It's like perfect for
That's
this
so
the weather
good.
outside right now.
James's mouth is watering as you're describing this.
I feel like that drool emoji right now. Like,
I make it once a year, so we're doing it for Thanksgiving this year.
And for those of you watching, Brandon said Armagnac. He didn't say Armonk, New York.
Oh,
Yeah, not to be confused with.
Armagnac.
So that's really good. And how often do you make that? Just whenever you
Really,
have
it's just kind of a
time?
once a year thing. It's very savory, so
Yeah.
I couldn't eat it too often.
Look,
And it is a labor of love too,
yeah. No, that's
to
there. There's a
roast
lot
the
of
chestnuts and
preparation.
score them and peel
peel
them.
them and
Yeah,
blah.
You've
yeah.
got them here. You've got them. Sounds amazing. Yummy. Chestnut soup. I'll be right over. Yeah, I know. I think I'm gonna get myself to Santa Fe soon too before you go to Puerto Vallarta.
Please do.
That's it. That's it. Yeah, some wine and some chestnut soup and basil pasta. Good stuff. So do you cook as well, James, or you're the one who is the taste tester?
Let's go with that. I do the dishes.
You do the
Yeah,
dishes,
he's
right?
really good about cleaning up,
I'm not
which is
useless in the
perfect.
kitchen, but I feel very intimidated living with Brandon, so I don't really cook at all. I'm a fairly decent baker, but if I bake, then we eat it, and that's not always the most healthy. So I don't really bake too often.
Bernadette's going to be adding now that chestnut soup to her Thanksgiving menu.
It's a good one.
Just small portions because it's very savory and you won't have room for anything else if you
Yeah.
eat too much.
Does it end up to be thick? Is it thick or
Yeah.
frothy? So it becomes, is it like creamy or is it more brothy?
It's more creamy.
Creamy.
Yeah, the celery root puree really makes it kind of creamy.
That's
Yeah.
creamy is the best. I mean,
Yeah,
butternut
you can't go
squash
wrong.
soup, cream of potato. And now you're talking about all that good stuff. Wow. So, what would you guys say to somebody who's watching this live now, or perhaps they watch this later in the archives on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, who's considering, maybe there's a youngster watching and they're considering going into uh, being a musician, being a cellist, being somebody who is really tied to the love of an instrument, as well as going into becoming a vocalist, a performer, singer. What are some things from your experience you would say to somebody like that? Some people have said, if you were going into accounting, just stay as an accountant because there's so much work involved. What would you guys say to somebody who's coming up the ranks? And do you like to inspire and mentor kids and the youth as well?
What do they say? How to get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. I think that's what they say.
You
Um,
must have, because we were there.
yeah,
We met.
yeah. It's really just it's believing in yourself enough to show enough dedication to your craft in order to master it. And that self-doubt that we all have as artists and as human beings in general never goes away. It's only exasperated as an artist, I would say. And it's just about having the will to move past that and move forward and to keep working and to believe that what you have to offer is good enough.
Right, right, exactly.
What about you? He taught music for 7 years in high
Yeah,
school,
what
so
was
We
that
pretty
like?
much.
Yeah,
I loved teaching high school music. It was really great. I mean, you get to forge such a great relationship with the students, and you're spending a kind of a significant amount of time with them outside of the classroom because you're practicing in your for your bands and choirs and going on tours and having concerts all the time. So I found it super rewarding as a from a personal standpoint to like having a great kind of impact on these people's lives because you're spending so much time with them. So I found it was a lot of fun, and it kind of meant something too. Yeah, I love
what was
teaching.
the age range of the students?
I was high school, so kind of grade seven, middle school and high school, grade 7 to 12.
Have any, sometimes when you're a teacher or professor, educator, you hear from those who've gone on to successes. Have any moved on to some relative moderate success?
I guess it depends how you measure success. I've had a couple of my students that came on to be music teachers, and that very kindly suggested that I was a part of the reason that they were had become music educators. So that was kind of a nice thing. And some performers who have gone on to be wonderful soloists or symphony players in Australia.
That's
um,
cool.
we
Yeah.
did kind of cotton on and we're reading some of these comments too, and a lot of your lovities are asking if they're going to hear anything,
I
and
want you to perform,
I
I
just
know.
wanted to apologize in advance. We're not set up for that here. We
Not your
just
usual spot, right?
yeah, because we're normally broadcast from New York, and we have all of our sound gear and
Sound gear.
stuff there. And just a couple of nights ago, we tried to live stream one of our performances without all of our gear, and I'm still scarred because the sound quality was
Awful.
so
Very,
awful that but for those of you who are
but you
asking,
will be back. We'll have you guys back when you're set
yeah,
up, and we'll have you back, and you can share some of the material with us for sure.
that would
Absolutely,
be
this is nice
lots of
for
fun.
people to really get an understanding of why you do what you do, and the passions that you have, and the relationship that you have, and learn more about the individuals. I mean, the music speaks for itself, and they can hear it. Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, all of the usual places, your website. and then we'll have you come back, and maybe, you'll be in a venue or a spot where you can perform a few things live. That's always welcome. But I think it's also cool to have a good conversation, catch up, and, shoot the breeze and really get an understanding of what we're all doing through all of this right now, and what motivates and drives you guys, and some of your experiences coming up the ranks. I think that's a beautiful thing too.
100%. Yeah, thank you so much for having us. It's been really great to chat with you.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's when you get an opportunity to have conversations like this, it's rare, because we're always busy lives. And I know, even though you guys are there, not in your usual spot in New York, you're still busy there, right? You're in between. Have you eaten dinner yet, or not
We're
yet?
just about to actually.
So,
We need to go.
Oh yeah, it's 6.
We're
yeah,
meant to be there right now, and we're not.
and that might have been James's stomach. What are you going to
You don't
have?
want to see him hangry.
Oh, no, I know.
It's not cute.
That happens with me too. I never, you get a little like, I better eat now.
Yeah,
Back
yeah.
off. I better eat. Give me food. People are going to want to know, what are you going to have?
I have no idea. These
Is this a
friends of
brand
ours are cooking for
creation?
us.
Yes, we know the husband is the primary chef and the wife is a baker, so I think it's going to be probably a pretty good meal.
Ann says, great getting to know you guys. And again, I know you guys, wanted music and things of that nature, but they're not set up where they are in Santa Fe. It's not their usual spot. They would gladly have done a few things live and all that. And we will definitely, I know you've been asking us, they will be back. But here you got a chance, some of you, to be introduced to them, who they are, why they do what they do. And this show is as much about, some of the things like the music and all the rest of the stuff and videos and everything, as much as it is, everybody tells me, the art of conversation. We're bringing back the art of conversation, the lost art of conversation. And that is what is valuable and missing in our society, right? We don't have time to really get to know each other and to talk.
It is true.
You're very interesting, even without your music.
Oh, good.
Thank you, Marshall.
Willie's, it's like 1:30 or 2:30. She goes, no music? Then I go to sleep. Good night. Thank you, boys, for the conversation. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Willie.
Thanks for being with us, Willie. You got a chance to learn about the guys, and they'll do music when they come back. And again, what's the website where they can go to hear some of the music, maybe purchase the music? Is
It's
your
BrandenJames.com. So you see that it's spelled strangely, BRANDEN James.com. They can find everything there.
Yeah, or just Google us and we're on all the things.
perfect? Thank you so much for sharing with us. Let's see. We have enjoyed getting to know you. Perfect. Let's see. Bernadette, thank you very much for sharing with us. Thanks for spending time with us. Kathleen in New York City. And Wozniak, thank you for a wonderful evening. See, they're lovities. Just the fact that you're here, sitting on the
I love
couch
it.
chatting with us. They love it. They love it.
So sweet.
Yes, they are lovities. Jean said you are.
She's a lovely.
Hearts. Bernadette even says, "Oh, don't feel so badly. It's great to hear your stories and those recipes." And so you won them over with that as well, the recipes. And a couple more. Christine says, teaching music is so influential. Thanks for sharing more of your life, career, food topics. Enjoyed the conversation. Lovity. Love you guys. Danilo in San Diego says, thank you guys. Hope to see you two again soon. Ann says, Jim has introduced us to so many talented individuals. That's my pleasure. We have enjoyed getting to know you.
Thanks.
Getting to know you. That's a whole other song. Carla in Brazil. Thanks, Brandon. Loving you, James, as well. And
Obrigada.
Obrigada,
yeah.
Carla.
And Merlin, enjoyed the conversation with you guys as well. And Ann says, I've enjoyed your videos on YouTube. Yeah, you can see them all there as well. Guys, you're the best. And it was really, I toast you. I don't know if you have anything there, but we always toast our viewers as much as our guests. So we will toast you here.
Cheers.
Cheers. We're a virtual
Brandy,
toast.
a virtual toast. Thanks for popping on the show. Really appreciate it. It was awesome having you here. And I hope you enjoyed the show and the time with me as much as I have with the two of you.
Very much.
Oh, so much
Thank you
fun.
so much, Jim.
And we look forward to coming back and performing for all your lovities.
You're welcome back anytime. And Juanita in South Africa says, great conversation and lovely stories. Thank you guys as well. So you go get some dinner there in beautiful Santa Fe. It was a pleasure having you guys here. Be well, stay safe, enjoy Puerto Vallarta when you're there.
Thank you.
And let's stay in touch. And it was good meeting you, James, and catching up with you
Likewise.
again, Brandon, as well.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Jim.
Cheers.
We'll see you again.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. Take care and be well.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, and Jean says, have a wonderful evening, and claps coming in from Anne and Bernadette. Yeah, I knew they weren't going to do music only because we chatted about that and they were thinking about doing that, but they want their sound to really be good. And where they are, they're not in their usual place. I think they're at a friend's house or something. So all of their instruments are in New York City, where they're normally positioned. That's similar to an artist we were having on Saturday, this past Saturday, that has been moved to December. Corner Boy, the very popular Irish band, because there's a lockdown in Ireland. And in Ireland, you cannot leave your house beyond 5 kilometers, and you can't get together with any other family members other than the people in your household. About a week ago, they put a level 5 pandemic restriction lockdown on Ireland. So if you don't already have your instruments within that 5-kilometer range, you got a little bit of an issue. And the guys from Corner Boy, their studio and all their instruments are 40 kilometers away, so they're not able to go. So they're coming on December 5th. They're going to be here, and they're all excited, and they're going to perform live and so much more. So that's Brandon and James, a wonderful duo. Brandon is the vocalist, and James is the accomplished cellist. And Brandon and I had met at Carnegie Hall in New York City when I was emceeing an event, and he was singing, and it was really, really cool. We stayed in touch, and I invited them to pop on so you can learn about them. Again, you can find them, all of their music, on all the usual places, also on YouTube, their website as well, and so much more. Really, really cool to have them here. Bye, all Lovedies. Good night, Mr. Lovedy. Good to see you as well, Pasqua. Thank you. So interesting. Thank you very much. And I want to let you guys know that tomorrow there will be some live music and so much more, as iconic singer and entertainer Josie Falbo is going to be here live. That's right, from the Chicago area. She's going to perform. We've got lots of music, lots of levity. She's all excited. She's really happy. She is a legend in the music industry. She's also been in a lot of commercials, too. Her voice has been used in thousands of TV commercials and so much more. Josie is going to be with us on tomorrow night, which is going to be spectacular. So we're really excited about that. Hope you guys enjoyed. It's always nice getting together with you, just chatting and conversing, catching up, putting smiles on your faces, inspiring, seeing how all you guys are doing, having great guests chatting with us as well. And we love it. And Sherry said night all to Merlin. And Sherry says, thank you so much for visiting us in Levity Hall. Please come back soon. Yep. They will see that as well. And when I started the show, we didn't have guests. The purpose really wasn't to have guests. It was to host a show like a talk show and converse with all of you fabulous people around the world and do all kinds of cool things. And then I started bringing some guests on, and we love it. Still early on the West Coast. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Thank you, Jim. Everyone stay safe, stay well. Good night to you as well for another entertaining evening. My pleasure, my pleasure. You are very welcome, Ann, as well. You guys say good night. You take care. All right, gang, we're going to wrap up a little early here, which actually is, originally these shows are supposed to be an hour, but we have so much fun with you guys. And everybody's here, George and Jeannie and Gilligan and Jimmy. We're going to wrap up. Thanks for joining us here on the show. And I want to make mention, we didn't get a chance to talk about it actually, his book. This is Lyrics of My Life, My Journey with Family, HIV. Brandon went through HIV, and reality television as well. America's Got Talent. Brandon James, that's his book. And you can find that as well online. And night, all Lovedies. Thanks, Jim, for another interesting show. Have a good night, everyone. Cheers. Kathleen, have a good night. Of course, Jim, looking forward to all the upcoming shows. Good night, Jim. Bye, all. Great show, Jimbo. My pleasure. Thanks for joining us, everybody. This is your host, Jim Masters. Thanking you for your time this time. Till next time, we'll be here 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific tomorrow, live on the Jim Masters Show, live right here on YouTube at Jim Masters TV, Facebook at Jim Masters TV. And if you haven't had a chance to subscribe to the YouTube channel, be sure and do that. Saturday night Halloween costume party. We're looking forward to that. That's exclusively on YouTube. And some of you have sent us some really cool photos we're going to be showing of you in costume, or your kids or grandkids, or maybe you in costume when you were a kid. You still have time to send those our way to jimmasterstv@gmail.com. That's jimmasterstv@gmail.com. Send them in by Friday of this week, the 30th of October, so we can get them downloaded and then uploaded in time for Halloween. All right, this is your host, Jim Masters, saying good night. Thanks for being with us. We love you all. And it's always great to converse with you, bringing back the lost art of conversation right here on our show. Good to see everybody. Hope everybody's doing well today. Thanks for tonight's show. Hopefully see you tomorrow evening. Good night, Jim and lovely friends. Thanks, Christine. You guys take care. You be well and have a good night. Thanks for being with us. It's always nice having you here. And I wish you nothing but the best. Very nice. You as well, Anne. All right, gang. We'll talk to you again soon on the Jim Master Show Live, where we have conversation, on location segments, guests, all kinds of cool things. You never know what happens on our show. And we got a lot more coming up. So really excited about that. Thank you for another great show, Jim. Good night to all lovelies. You too as well. Kathleen, blessings to all. Good night. You as well. Bernadette, good night. And bye-bye as well. We will see you tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, with iconic entertainer and singer Josie Falbo. She's going to be fantastic. She's all charged up and excited. Good night, everybody. Be well. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.